Mike, thank you so much for joining us at IRTV. I've just grabbed Mike straight off the stage where he's been speaking at Internet Retailing Conference. Very well received. And I just want to grab you for a few minutes to ask you about the excellent results that B&Q has just posted. So what was behind that?
So I think particularly from a digital perspective in the e-commerce world, 40% like-for-like in the first half of the year. And really it's getting the team close to the customer, listening to what the customer's telling us, listening to all the customer satisfaction scores, but then also using our session replay, video replay services, looking at what the customers are actually doing. And then it's about what are the things that we could do to make that better, multivariate test them, find the winner, and make things better for the customer.
So let's sort of open the kimono a bit on that. Everyone says, listen to the customer, etc., etc. And it wasn't as if you were shabby before, and 40% is a massive uplift. So were there differences between what the customer was saying to you and their behaviours?
Yeah.
So give us an example.
So probably one of the best examples was in the customer satisfaction. They would tell us, I was having a problem in this part of the journey, but we couldn't pinpoint exactly what the element of that journey was. So we were hypothesizing it could be this, it might be this. But when we replayed the actual sessions, you could see quite clearly the problem that they were having. And then you immediately would go, oh my God, how would that feel if you were a customer receiving that? Then we could go, it could be a technical issue that we needed to fix, or it was a UI, UX, or it was something else. And literally we'd review that on a weekly basis.
And what were the things that you changed? Because again, you've had good designers, you've been through acceptance testing, you've tested yourselves. So give us an example of the kind of things that were being changed.
The things that made the biggest difference were the things that you and I would sort of gloss over as just so minor, so trivial. But literally for the delivery options, do I want it click and collect? Do I want it next day delivery or a future delivery? Changing that from a toggle to radio buttons had a massive uplift in performance. So the customer was actively choosing what they wanted rather than it was already pre-selected for them. So it put the customer a lot more in control when we...
And that came out from your replay of sessions, is that right? Because one of the challenges people often have with doing MVT testing or extensive testing is after a couple of weeks they run out of ideas for testing and there's so much work involved in generating the candidates. Whereas it seems if you're taking a follow the customer around and then focus on those areas.
You make me sound like a professional stalker there, but it genuinely, I'm not being trite when I say listen to the customer. We will sit down weekly and review what are the top things that the customers are telling us, and then what are the experiences they're having, and then we will then say, right, what are the MVT opportunities out of that to make it better, put it into practice within 2 weeks, and then hopefully within a couple of weeks of that, you've then got a better outcome and a better result. And that's been the predominant driver, that different mindset, that different approach behind the results in the first half.
That's interesting, because the film of your presentation will be up online, and we'll put the URL in this video. Now, after your session, there was a lot of questioning around the technology, what MVT were you using, etc., etc. But you were making the point very strongly that it's not the technology. I mean, what you've been talking about now is a kind of process and paying attention, which is, it's independent of the technology. Yeah. So tell us a bit more about how you're managing to get, the people and process sides to support the business growth.
So I think largely with any sort of transformation, digital transformation, business transformation, it's easier to focus on the technology because the technology is tangible, it's real, it's largely controllable. What gets missed are the people, the processes, the organisation change that will then support and enable the use of that technology. That gets missed so often, and one of the things that I find in businesses that I've been guilty of it in the past, that completely missed the business change part of it. Winning hearts and minds behind the technology that's coming in is more important than the technology itself, because you will not use the technology properly unless the hearts and minds are in the right place to receive it.
So that's very interesting because we did an interview earlier with Robin Phillips, who we know, and I was reminding him about conversations we'd had before, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, with a real technology as the driver of change. And he was saying very similarly that, as he's had more experience, especially in large organisations, of change, it's the people angle that's made a difference. But, we know a number of the guys in your team. They're all lovely people, committed professionals. So what's needed to change? They looked fantastic before.
But I think it goes much beyond a couple of people. You're talking about an organisational change, a culture shift of an organisation to start to trust the technology and then to act on what it's telling you. Historically, I think people are more inclined to trust their gut, trust their instinct, trust their experience, and the technology bit, I don't need that. And actually we need to embrace the technology and the changes that's bringing, because it will deliver better results.
How have you done that? Because the growth is an impressive leap. Give us an example of making that change real to people.
Well, if I take the example, we used to have a customer experience score, and we would review that on a weekly basis. What was the score? It's up, it's down. And I got frustrated after a while, kind of going, well, it's down this week, why? It's up this week, why? And that's when we started this weekly, right, let's really get into, I don't care about the number, it's up, it's down, whatever. Talk to me about what the customer is telling us. Right, let's look at what the customer is experiencing. Now, on the back of that, what are we going to do about it? Taking it away from numbers and making it real. And actually, when you see what the customers then experience, you have a little gulp, and you go, I've got to do something about that. You emotionally feel connected to the problem.
So what's interesting is, I remember years ago when I first started working in retail, you'd walk the floor with maybe the CEO or the buying director, and they had this visceral understanding of visual merchandising, store layout, product presentation. So in a way, we're trying to build that combination of data-enabled experience that might be the new retailing gut feel. This is not just gut, it's based on the data and a rigorous process.
Yeah, I'd echo that 100%. I think it's about the technology, the data, even more so the data. I think we've got so much data at our fingertips these days, and it's probably going to be nothing compared to what's to come. It's then translating that and then using the experience and some of the gut that says, right, what would make that better would be this. But then you can test it and use the data behind those tests to back up your gut.
So now you've done 40% this year, then at least 60%.
The bar is set.
Yeah,
exactly.
So what are you going to focus on? You've got the testing, you've got the following the customer in a non-stalking way. What else do you need to do next year to maintain this level of growth?
So I think there's still a lot in the following the customer, improving life for the customer that we can do, but also there are some leaps that we're going to make in terms of customer proposition in the next 6 months that will help sustain the growth levels.
You have to come back and tell us
I look forward to it.
how they work. But Mike, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Ian.
And you can see Mike's presentation. We put the link below. And that was very well received as well. So
Thank you.
Cheers.